Hello and welcome to our first of 4 consecutive live Studio 415 shows. On today's show, you'll get to hear from the administration about why some rules at Carroll have a zero-tolerance policy. You'll see how one Carroll teacher is wrapping up her 40 years of teaching before retiring, and you'll see how books and novels get approved to be in the NACS curriculum. All of that and more coming up next.
There were no women. So I was actually the first female ag teacher in the state of Indiana.
It's a president?
Yeah, who else could be on the dime?
I don't know.
And the largest contributor to stress will be your daily hassles.
Welcome! We are live from Studio 415. I'm Stella Brewer-Vartanian. The Carroll Rulebook currently has several zero-tolerance rules regarding misbehavior such as truancy, fighting, and possession of weapons on school grounds. However, the fairness and effectiveness of these rules have come into question under educators and students alike. In my story, I explain the controversy behind zero-tolerance policies. Zero-tolerance policies are strict enforcements of rules and the punishments that come with breaking them under any and all circumstances. This includes if a rule is broken by accident, in self-defense, or in ignorance. Examples of zero-tolerance policies at Carroll include its rules regarding physical aggression and fighting. Under the Carroll Rulebook, students are not allowed to engage in any sort of aggressive physical contact with other students, including pushing, shoving, and/or tripping. Students are also not allowed to engage in any sort of fighting. If a student chooses to become involved in a fight or become physically aggressive, they may be subject to suspension, expulsion, and/or possible referral to law enforcement, regardless of their reasoning for their behavior. Carroll also has no-tolerance policies on possession of drugs, alcohol, weapons including knives, paintball and airsoft guns, and on firearms. The history of zero-tolerance policies began in 1994, after Congress passed the Gun-Free Schools Act, which required that all schools had to expel any student who brought a firearm to school for 1 year, or otherwise lose all federal funding. The policies became widespread after several high-profile school shootings, including the Columbine High School massacre in 1999, led to increased concerns from administrators over school safety. In a radio address to the nation on May 23, 1998, former President Bill Clinton voiced his support for zero-tolerance policies.
We instituted a zero-tolerance for guns in schools policy, and we will continue to demand responsibility from our young people with strong punishments when they break the law.
Supporters of zero-tolerance policies believe that the policies make schools safer for students and also decrease instances of bullying and harassment. However, critics of zero-tolerance policies, including the American Bar Association and the American Psychological Association, point out that current available research suggests that zero-tolerance policies result in greater suspensions for students from disadvantaged backgrounds. Furthermore, in 2014, an analysis of school discipline data found that suspensions and expulsions as a result of zero-tolerance policies did not reduce school disruptions. Carroll principal Brandon Bidding believes that zero-tolerance policies lack the flexibility needed to deal with most student issues.
But to, again, fall back and say it's just absolute zero tolerance, to me, I think takes the personal element out of it, and we have to have the ability to, look at why the behavior is happening, what's causing the behavior, and work through the situation from student to student.
In a survey answered by 535 students, most Carroll students believed that zero-tolerance policies were ineffective at stopping bullying, drug use, and violence. Nonetheless, only about 38% of those surveyed believed that the policies should be removed from schools. The debate over zero-tolerance policies continues to gain attention as educators and administrators discuss how to deal with the nationally rising rates of teenage drug abuse and crime. With Studio 415, I'm Stella Brewer-Vartanian. Whether it be the students or staff, Carroll High School is full of inspirational figures. Among these inspiring people is agri-science teacher Cindy Raker. Studio 415 reporter Etta Horton brings you more on the story about Raker's retirement journey after her 40 years of experience here at Carroll. Whether you know her as an agri-science teacher, FFA leader, or the smiling face seen at Charger sporting events, most students have likely interacted with beloved teacher Cindy Raker. In the past 40 years, Raker says the school and district have changed vastly during her time teaching. What used to be a small rural school has now transformed into one of the largest high schools in northern Indiana.
When I started, there were 695 students. Everywhere you looked around the school were farm fields. We've been through 2 renovations, many principals, many other personnel in the front office, and a lot larger student population.
Along with all of the physical changes Raker has witnessed during her time teaching here at Carroll, there have also been vast social reformations when it comes to gender equality and the accessibility for women to get a job in the agriculture department. Raker describes her hardships and the judgment she faced during the early stages of her teaching career.
Getting a job was really difficult because in agriculture there were no women. So I was actually the first female ag teacher in the state of Indiana. So nobody wanted to take a chance on a female. So our school hired me, and I've stayed here my whole career. And I think that's probably my biggest challenge when I first started, because everybody's like, you teach my son welding, and I'd have to prove myself. And once I proved myself, nobody questioned me after that.
Students who receive the privilege of having Raker as their teacher know that she greatly values her connections with students and loves incorporating her optimistic attitude in her teaching. Junior Kayla Gibbs shares her positive experience in Raker's animal science class and how Raker has impacted her overall attitude during the school day.
Miss Raker has really influenced and impacted my life. She's always so positive. When I walk into the classroom, she's always says hi to everyone, good morning, and then asks us how our day or our weekend went. And she's just a positive person all the way around, and every day she comes in with a positive attitude. I don't think I've ever seen her with a negative attitude.
Although it has been a long journey, Raker says she would do it all over again, but looks forward to her upcoming retirement and the adventures it'll bring.
I loved working here, and I think it's a great place to be, awesome people, and I would do it again if it was 40 years ago.
If you want to wish Mrs. Raker a happy retirement, make sure to visit her in room 413. For Studio 415, I'm Etta Horton.
According to the American Psychological Association, 52% of teens say that stress has a negative impact on their mental health. Studio 415 reporter Lennon Orbiston has more on the causes of stress and how teens can effectively handle it.
Stress can have a huge impact on the lives of students at CHS. In my story, I explain what exactly causes this stress and how some believe it affects them.
When entering high school, many teens experience high levels of stress. Balancing schoolwork, extracurriculars, jobs, friendships, home life, and more often creates instability in a student's life. As more research is being done and teens are exposed to increasing pressure, levels of stress among teens continue to rise. The APA reports that almost 1/3 of teens feel overwhelmed and depressed as a result of these daily tensions. Although high levels of stress are often found among adults, new studies show that teenage stress surpasses that of adults. There are many reasons why students are experiencing so much stress. The rise of technology has a direct correlation with increasing anxiety levels, caused by poor self-image, cyberbullying, and more. Additionally, the internet's capacity to spread information, such as the COVID-19 pandemic and global tensions, can also cause for uneasiness and stress. Junior Maggie Hopsteck says that social media puts added pressure on teens.
I think social media impacts teenagers' mental health because I think they're so focused on what other people think of what they do on social media and what they post that it leads to them being stressed and anxious and caring more about what people think about them.
The psychological reasons for stress in teens, such as Hopsteck's, come from the nervous system's ability to process stressors. When a person encounters something stressful, the body releases the stress hormone cortisol. In smaller acute doses, cortisol helps the body to create dopamine, which increases attention and perception in stressful situations. This type of stress can help motivate students to work hard, whether that be in school or extracurriculars. Acute stress has also been shown to improve empathy for others, resilience, and confidence. Although many describe stress as being a negative factor, Carroll High School AP Psychology teacher Jordan Fernandez reassures that it can also be a positive aspect of life.
But the important thing to remember about stress is we describe it as an appraisal or a judgment call. So if you choose to view stress as a challenge rather than as a negative component of your life, a lot of students can use stress as an opportunity to demonstrate growth, or another psychological term we like to use is grit.
If a person finds themselves constantly stressed out, sometimes referred to as chronic stress, then the body has no time to lower its cortisol levels. This can cause both psychological and behavioral changes in a person. High levels of cortisol increase sugar levels in the bloodstream, heart rate, and blood pressure in order to respond effectively to stressors. If not controlled, chronic stress puts a person at risk for heart disease, diabetes, and fatigue. Prolonged stress can also harm the body's ability to react, causing behavioral changes. Lack of sleep, poor nutrition, unhealthy weight changes, isolation, and more can all take a toll on the body's overall wellness. Many students struggle with stress, but managing it is key to maintaining good physical and mental health. Planning ahead in ways such as using a planner or journaling are both great ways to manage stress. Physical exercise can help to naturally lower cortisol and produce endorphins as well. The best way to manage stress is to not stay silent about it.
The number one best advice is to seek out social support. So forming connections with people, whether that's sharing stories or getting advice, or just spending time with family members and friends is a great stress relieving tactic.
Although we all experience stress in our everyday lives, it is important to keep it under control. If you're ever feeling overwhelmed, make sure to contact your guidance counselor or even just talk to friends and family. For Studio 415, I'm Lennon Ormiston.
What is the flavor of water and who is on the dime are a few of the questions that Allie Butts and Patrick Wargo are asking their fellow students in this week's Commons Questions.
Spread awareness. Hello everyone, welcome back to Commons Questions. I'm your host Patrick Wargo. Let's get into it. What flavor is water?
I don't know. Does it have a flavor, does it?
I feel like it does.
I don't think it does.
Have to disagree.
Okay.
Assign it a flavor. Oh my god, guys. Can I stop you for a second? I should ask the culinary team this. Congratulations, by the way. Let's get a shot of that trophy.
I don't know. Nothing?
Nothing?
It's like, I don't know, crisp.
Tastes crisp.
Crisp. No, it tastes like, I don't know. It tastes like a question mark.
Like a question mark. Give me a flavor. Give me a flavor. When you taste water, you're like, oh man, this tastes like
Water?
I love you too, man. What is the definition of swag?
You.
Okay, I'll accept that.
I don't know. I can't put it into words.
Give me an example.
You're pretty swaggy.
Patrick Wargo.
Patrick Wargo. Trivia time. Who is on the dime?
Obama?
Well, we only have 46 presidents, right?
Yeah. So I got a 1 out of 46 chance.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln.
Can you tell me who is on the dime?
No.
No. And we need to find someone who knows the right answer.
The what?
The dime. The dime. The dime. The 10 cent.
To answer in a British accent like
No. That was just
the dime. I don't know.
It has not been a recent president, I'll tell you that.
Oh, really? Oh, I only know like 3.
But it also hasn't been an old president. Well, it's like a middle president.
Man, I'm gonna go with it's not Thomas Jefferson, man, because he's on the nickel, right?
Abraham Lincoln?
No. It's a middle president.
It's a president?
Yeah. Who else could be on the dime?
I don't know. Okay,
Abraham Lincoln?
Wrong.
Franklin,
Come on.
Roosevelt.
You're Franklin Roosevelt? That's correct. We got our first right answer.
Oh man, I don't know. Let's start with
F.
Franklin. Franklin something. I don't know the last name.
Oh wait, the dime, the coin.
You need that on the bell?
I thought it was a TV show.
All right, everybody, this has been Commons Questions. I'm your host, Patrick Wargo. Remember to keep leaving your suggestions down below. Back to you guys in the studio.
While some novels may still be under investigation for their subject matter and certain morals and messages, other novels are still waiting in line to be selected to be on the English curriculum. Studio 415 reporter Evan Schatz explains the process of giving these stories the green light.
Thanks very much, Stella. When glancing at the title of that next novel, you may not think about how that book made it to your desk. I had the opportunity to find out the secrets behind that process.
Whether it is for the everyday English class, honors English, or the high-excelling AP courses, novels are a staple of the English curriculum and something that all students must read to be on task. but the selection of the novels comes from CHS English Department Chair Katie Kelly. Some of her other duties as the English chair include collaborations on Wednesday mornings and meeting with the school board once a month. As it pertains to novels, she explains what this implies and how deciding on novels is handled.
Novel selection goes through me, and what that entails, the teachers for each team decide on the novels that they would like to teach next year.
While the school board approves different textbooks every 6 years, novels can be changed every year if a change in any English teacher's curriculum is needed. If one is necessary, many different steps are taken for them to review the novels that deserve the green light. They begin by accommodating standards and finding what they would like to expect from their students. After this, the real reviewing begins as Kelly and the other English teachers find the ones that best represent the students, whether they are engaging, challenging, and bringing a variety of ideas and voices to the table. One website used to work through the reviewing process is known as Common Sense Media, which can show the overall ratings of novels like parent and age ratings. Finally, if the novels are available at the school library, teachers can go and borrow them for a time. If not, Kelly can have them delivered from different book vendors like Barnes & Noble and the Adams Book Company. When the novels finally arrive and are ready for distribution, Kelly reveals how the novels are handed out and how to clarify which teachers has the respective novel.
When I'm filling out the request to purchase forms, I will attach the team lead for each course onto that, and so they'll actually get delivered to that teacher's room instead of me having a room full of books.
In the typical English course or honors English, there are usually about 2 to 3 novels read in the classroom per year. However, in a course like AP Lang, there are up to 5 different novels read every year, 4 novels for every 2 grading periods, or quarters as they're more commonly called, and 1 mandatory reading assignment that has to be completed over the summer prior to the beginning of the year. While the students can use their time to discuss the novels and express their understanding of them, ultimately, Kelly believes that expectations comes from the integrity of the class and whether or not the novels are meaningful to them. While students can do their part and continue to read the novels that the English teachers provide for them, Kelly and her team will be on the clock until before spring break if they decide to add any new novels to an ever-expanding curriculum. So the next time you thumb through those pages and see how many are inside of it, make sure you think about all the steps that had to take place to get these kinds of novels to your desk. It is truly something remarkable. For Studio 415, I'm Evan Schatz.
News comes in many forms, both in video, like Studio 415, and on the Charger Online, the school's newspaper. This week, Studio 415 reporter Henry Burgett dives into what has to happen to create our school's newspaper.
One thing at Carroll that is often overlooked or unheard of is the making of the school's newspaper. Covering topics from school sports, student spotlights, and fine arts, the staff use their creative writing skills to inform our school of many events. Senior and co-editor-in-chief Maddie Bracken explains the editing and publishing process, only for the stories that she feels worthy of publishing.
So we usually have story meetings once a week. So you come up with your story, you figure out what you're going to do, you kind of line up interviews, and then throughout the week you're doing those interviews, you're writing parts of your story, and then once you put it on the site, you get a picture for it, and then I, as the editor, edit it, and then I schedule everything to go on the site.
Though most of the workers behind the creation of the newspaper are students, there's one staff member at the helm of it all, newspaper advisor Noel Beckley. Beckley is not only the advisor of the newspaper, but also plays a huge role in the making of the newspaper itself.
I try to keep everybody motivated, and sometimes I'm not good at that, and I'm feeling it just as well at this time of year. But we bring in cookies. We try to, I believe and trust in my students, and that makes my job a little bit easier because I've got a very good group of students that I know that I can trust not to commit libel.
The newspaper staff is constantly working to not only post stories weekly, but also have an episodic podcast in which they discuss all sorts of things, from sports to movies. Though the staff works very hard on each one of their stories, most of them believe that their work goes unnoticed or overlooked.
I think a lot of times it is. I think a lot of people don't realize that we have it even. Sometimes when you reach out to people for interviews, they don't even know that it exists. And we would love some more readership. A lot of times our stories aren't very long, so it only takes a minute, and we do report on some pretty important stuff in the school. So,
even if the Charge Online does get overlooked, there are many career opportunities that can come from writing. and the Charger Online could be a great place to start.
Please sign up. We would love to have you. The more, we want to get a variety of people in here just because the school is gigantic. 2,500 kids. That's 2,500 stories. And I think everyone does have a story to tell. Everyone does have a story about them. People may not think that about themselves, but you'd be surprised how many interesting things are about every single person who goes here.
If you'd like to check out the Carroll's newspaper, you can look up the Charger Online for any article you choose. For Studio 415, I'm Henry Brigette.
When driving to or from school, you might have seen a CHS staff member in the parking lot. Studio 415 reporter Jacob Harmon explains why these staff members are out there and why they are important.
In the CHS parking lot outside door 13, there are some staff members that are seen on a regular basis. They are School Resource Officer Eric Butler, Assistant Principal Cleve Millian, and Assistant Principal Tanya Pickett. Unless they have other responsibilities, they are outside in the parking lot while students are arriving in the mornings and while the students are leaving in the afternoon. These staff members are here to help direct traffic and make sure students and staff are driving safely. Butler explains what he finds to be one of the more challenging aspects of what he does after school.
And sometimes it's a logistical nightmare. We have a lot of traffic still coming in from 3:30 to 4, so we're always asking for patience, people observing the four-way stop signs.
Although there is not an exact amount for the number of staff members that need to be present on any given day, Butler and Millian said that they are out there in case of emergencies or accidents. Both Butler and Millian have been on parking lot duty since they started working at Carroll in the fall of 2021. They get to work early for getting general work done and for being in the parking lot in the morning. Butler expresses how he feels about students that he sees drive to and from school every day.
The student body here is very good as far as obeying the speed laws. I don't see any kind of reckless driving. We, proverbial knock on wood, we don't have many accidents here. I think that's a good awareness and attention to detail all the students have. So we always applaud them for that.
To all students who need a parent, guardian, or friend to pick them up after school, please remember to use door 19, as it is not more efficient to use door 13 due to all the traffic. And please remember to stay safe when driving. For Studio 415, I'm Jacob Hartman.
That's all we have today. Thanks for watching. If you have a story idea, please let us know. For all of us here at Studio 415, have a great day, Carroll.
Sunny days and friendly smiles, walk the halls with me.